Hello, everybody. This is Tom Randall from Goldencare. I want to welcome you guys to the webinar today. It's my pleasure to talk about the Manhattan OmniFlex product today, and I'm joined with my partner in crime, Dennis Reiner, on the other line. And again, some of our voices, I might be yelling at you, and Dennis might be quiet, or vice versa, because we're obviously in two different states and different locations, so I apologize for that. But tell you what, I've had the pleasure of working with Dennis for my whole 27 years that I've been here at Goldencare. And Dennis is a master sales trainer. He does a great job. He has trained agents across the country, as I have as well. And he's done a lot of live webinars for short-term care and long-term care over the years. So you're going to have a lot of great advice, and our other webinars are filled with sales webinars and things of that sort, how to start the conversation. So hopefully the marketer who steered you on this call today has also steered you to some of those other experiences that we had. Dennis, if you want to jump in and say hi, we'll get rolling.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for taking time this afternoon. This is kind of a late afternoon webinar, and we tried to mix up the times. And so hope this works for each of you who've taken the time to join us.
You bet. You bet. Thanks, Dennis. Dennis and I have done a lot of these trainings. Obviously, I think we're doing 30 live webinars over a 25-day period. Then we're probably smack dab in the middle of it just about right now. And we jump back and forth quite a bit and just kind of help each other sometimes finish our own sentences, et cetera. But one thing that Dennis always knows that I have to start out with is kind of the reason why we're on this call today. For those of you who are on the call, and whether you sell Medicare or life products or anything else out there, these facts, the stats never change, unfortunately, and especially when you talk about extended care with short-term care. When you look at America, there's a lot of gray hair, and 70% of the folks over age 65 are going to need some type of care, because these plans are so broad. They cover, recovery from surgeries, et cetera. So even some of the shorter extended care needs that people have, it's overwhelming how many people will have them. 70% of the people out there and 90% of married couples will have at least one of them need care. So the scary part about that is 90% of adults out there in America have never had a true conversation with somebody who understands this market and understands how they can protect themselves and their family. And that's one of the reasons we're so excited, Dennis and I, to do this short-term care initiative for our integrity partners, because this is something that we think is really important. Regardless of what you do on a day in and day out basis, these stats don't change. And, that last stat there is kind of a scary one, but it's basically during the heart of COVID, people were so afraid of facilities. So you'll learn a lot why we don't say we sell nursing home insurance. We don't stress that part of it. It's a necessary part of it if you can get it. But we do know that people buy these policies by and large to stay out of those facilities as long as possible. So that's our goal ultimately, is to show you how easy this can be, show you how simple it can be, and show you how powerful these products can be as we go in and hit the short-term care industry and hit these people who need your help so badly. So we're privileged today to be one of the really co-designers, or the primary designers, if you want to say that, with Manhattan Life's OmniFlex short-term care plan. This was literally over just about 3 years in the making. So we put a lot of time and energy, because we wanted to make sure we designed a product that was a little bit different than what you saw out in the field already. And hopefully by the end of this short webinar today, you're going to agree that this product has a lot to offer. We did a pre-launch where we had a lot of agents out selling this from our career shop here, and a couple other agencies around the country. And you probably can't read all these, but I'll turn it over to Dennis if you want to talk a little bit about the background, the method to our madness, Dennis.
Yeah, Tom, thanks. These testimonials were heartfelt by a number of LTC producers, primarily, who have been in the business like Tom and I a long time and have seen a lot of different changes. And Tom is much too modest. His fingerprints are all over this product, and was very instrumental in bringing this to the market. He and I for years talked about developing a concept that would have some of the characteristics of what was in this product, and Tom stayed the course and was really the key lead on making sure all of this happened. And he's got a unique skill set from both, as he said, the sales side, and also his technical skills. And though not actuary by training, because Tom does in fact have a personality, but he has that combination of great tech as well as sales. And so these are great testimonials about some of the innovation and some of the ways that this is really revolutionizing the marketplace. And as we go and talk about this, Tom gave you those statistics, and a lot of that is just for your own use. You don't want to necessarily always hang your hat on just filling the client's mind with a bunch of stats, because at the end of the day, statistics are a good benchmark and they're a good frame of reference, but people also have to feel the pain, and usually they feel the pain when they understand the cost of care. They've had maybe an experience with someone who's gone through it, and those are hitting those pain points are really the key to introducing products like Manhattan Life. And so you can see here just a semi-private room. I can remember although it's been a number of years, but gosh, when we were talking, Tom, about the average cost of care was $36,000 a year, and here it is nearly approaching semi-private room $100,000, and far exceeding that in terms of what a private room is going to be. And we know that a lot of that is, quite frankly, not so much brick and mortar as it is the labor cost today, finding these key individuals that can actually provide that care that's driving that cost up so high. So the great news about this product, Tom, if you want me to continue here, I'll just go on for a few more minutes, is in the long-term care space. And a lot of times, even when we look at the hybrids and some of the asset-based products, they have a little bit lower issue age, maybe down to 35, but a lot of times they cap that issue age to 79. And what's happened is that with the development of this Manhattan product is we wanted to make sure that we had a little bit longer runway. And so this goes from an issue age of 45 all the way up to 89. And I have to tell you, we're placing people right now in their 80s that are buying short-term care. And so this is a great opportunity for you that are working in the senior market to know that this is right in the wheelhouse that complements all the other things that you're doing. And it is simplified issue. You're going to see that this is not the labor-intensive application process that you normally find with traditional long-term care or even some of the hybrids where they're underwriting both for mortality and for morbidity. This is very streamlined. It's a 30-day free look. There's going to be some other benefits that you're going to see in here that we'll talk about, and I won't necessarily cover it at this point. We'll cover it a little bit later, but these products are guaranteed renewable. And so going forward and looking at the basic features, that's kind of the roadmap, if you will, that we're gonna follow. You should know that within the application of the Manhattan Life policy, there is a one-time, I think we have it on the next visual, Tom, a one-time policy fee of $25, and it is commissionable. And again, the rates are governed by the various states, so there is certain loss ratios that may reflect a change in the compensation depending upon the state that you're in. So you need to make sure that you understand that. Also, that there's not very many moving parts, but one of the moving parts that you should be mindful of, and it's a good moving part, and that is that if they both apply together, two individuals that are applying for coverage, that they're married and they live in and at the same address, and they're both issued, they can both receive an additional 10% discount off of the rates. And so that's important. Plan highlights, Tom. I don't know if you want me to continue, if you want to jump in on this one.
Yeah, I'll jump in for a couple minutes. And again, with this one, all these plans are really robust. That's one of the biggest things we talk about. So I do spend a minute here just to remind you that this plan is called OmniFlex, but all these short-term care plans are very flexible, and they can be very robust. And that's one of the things that I want to make sure you understand if you're new to this market. I know some of you have been on our other webinars, probably have heard me say it several times before, and Dennis say it, is that a lot of adults in America are a lot of educated folks that you're going to come across when you say we have a short-term care plan that I can offer you. Their first reaction is, for a lot of people, they don't understand how these plans have changed and evolved over time. So a lot of people assume short-term care means, oh, that's probably a little 90-day policy or 30-day policy that covers you after you get out of the hospital or something. So what we want to make sure you understand, and that's why we use the word extended care a lot when we're talking to consumers, is that you understand that these policies can be super flexible, where we can design a small little plan. You can see here the benefit periods. You could have a 90-day benefit period with OmniFlex at $50 a day if you wanted to, and we can make these super unbelievable affordable. On the flip side, though, we do want you to make sure you understand that you can do very, very strong plans as well. You could put $400 per day, for example, that you see here on the OmniFlex plan for 360 days. You know, $400 per day, if you do the math on that, that's $12,000 a month, right? And we have an inflation benefit. We'll show you later that you could double that, so you could have up to $24,000 a month of coverage. And you can design these plans to be literally over $500,000 per claim and over $1 million for the life of the policy. So some really big, robust plans as well. So what you'll do with most of your people is find somewhere in between there, obviously, and find something that's affordable. And that's one of the nice things about these total flexibility in these plans. So today we're talking about OmniFlex again, $50 to $400. I already said we have elimination periods of 0, 20, 60, or 90. And if you happen to be in the long-term care trenches for some reason and on this call, we always tell you, take that hat off or turn it to the side, whatever you want to do. Because with long-term care, we sell a lot of 90-day eliminations. With short-term care, because of the way these plans are designed and the way we purposely put them together, regardless of which company you're selling in this short-term care initiative, most of the time you're going to sell a 0 or a 20-day elimination. I'm not saying you can't price it out and check it out, but I will tell you most of the time you want these to be shorter because of the fact that you're going to be able to go on claim easier with these policies, because the claim triggers are literally just need help with 2 of 6 of your activities of daily living, like bathing and dressing, etc. So you do go on claim for things like knee replacements, hip replacements, etc., and fractures and things that you wouldn't go on claim with long-term care insurance. So that being said, I'll get off my long-term care boat, but I do want to make sure you understand most of the times we sell smaller elimination periods. And the benefit periods, again, 90, 180, 270, or 360 in most states. So you can go all the way up to a year, and that's what we sell the most of. Most of these plans, we do sell a year, but you can sell smaller benefit periods as well. The lifetime maximum we'll talk about with restoration, but you can see it's 2 times whatever benefit period I sold. And the restoration, I'm going to jump down the bottom of your screen there. What that means is when you go on claim, and this happens a lot more often, again, tilt your long-term care hat on sideways if you have long-term care in your blood. With restoration, it's much, much, much more common with these short-term care plans. With short-term care plans, because you go on claim for smaller amounts of time, a lot of times, you can have the restoration kick in a lot more often than you would with a long-term care plan. So that's all I'll say about that. But the restoration basically says as long as you're healthy for 180 days after a claim, then they'll pump those days right back up to what you started with. And they'll keep doing that over and over again up to the lifetime maximum benefit. And this plan, if you're a short-term care wily veteran and you know how the plans differ, this plan is very liberal with its restoration. It'll restore not only facility, but also home care days, and it'll restore them multiple times. So it's very, as strong as you can get in the restoration department, okay? So again, Dennis, I know I'm rambling on with this first slide here, so jump in if you ever like to. But benefit reservation days are in there in this plan as well, 10 days. And again, with lifetime maximum 20 days, because those will restore automatically as well. The big things about this slide is the prescription drug benefit. Dennis pointed it out earlier on that intro slide, but it's a huge deal. This is something you might be familiar with in the home health care only plans, but this is the first short-term care plan in the industry to have that prescription drug benefit. And it's so strong, $300 per year right away. You don't have to be on other claims or hit claim triggers. As soon as you buy this policy and it's effective, you can start turning in your refills and your prescriptions. And for a 65-year-old, the average stat out there is 27.3 prescriptions or refills a year. So quite a few people will use this. And you can see there, it's $10 per refill or prescription for generic drugs or $25 for brand names. And when you get folks in this arena of 65 plus, you know a lot of them are going to have a shoebox full of meds. So a lot of people will use that entire $300. And basically, it's kind of just a net premium reducer, right? Whatever your premium might be, for a lot of folks, you can tell them, based on what I'm seeing from your medications, you're going to have $300 back right away each year, to what kind of lowers your net premium overall, right? So it's a really strong benefit that we tell people, make sure you show extreme prejudice towards that for your folks who have a longer med list, especially. Fast 50 is what really separates us again from the competition here. This OmniFlex plan has a Fast 50 benefit, which basically, it's not as big a deal for the elimination period. It's always first day coverage, as you can see on your screen there. So we like that. And we did this with our Mutual of Omaha plan, right, Dennis? I mean, this was something that when we designed the Mutual of Omaha plan and took them from number 10 to number 1 in the industry, we were really proud of that fact. And it was a lot to do with the cash. That Mutual of Omaha long-term care plan had a built-in cash benefit option as well. So we wanted to really make sure that this plan had it. And it is something that's quite different. You'll see the GTL plan that we have has a really nice one-time cash benefit for family members, et cetera. But this one is an ongoing benefit if you choose it. And it's 50% of whatever your benefit would be at any given time. Usually you don't do it with facility care, but it is on the facility care as well. But it's on the home care. And that's usually where you'll see people use it, is in the home situation. And they can get 50% of their daily benefit for the full benefit period for a Fast 50. And what we found, Dennis, right, and with the Mutual of Omaha plan, we found that 70% of the folks who went on claim started out with cash, and 70% of those folks stayed on the cash, because people love the ability to have family members, spouses especially, and family and friends and church groups. You can have folks like that get paid to help care for you. And that's something that's usually excluded in short-term care policies, where they say, we'll pay benefits, but not to family members and friends. It's something they just usually wouldn't do. So really a nice extra benefit there that separates yourself from the competition with OmniFlex. And Dennis, again, you know me, just jump in anytime I get rolling. So
yeah, no problem, Tom. I was just gonna, say that when you come back to that Fast 50, the real key is that, for those of us who've been in the business, and some of you on this call may have been in the business a long time, maybe even have sold long-term care, where all the objections are. So, you may as well take them off the table, and that Fast 50 does just exactly that, because normally someone might say to you that they already have a plan, and that plan in place is that their family member is going to take care of them, their spouse or their daughter's an RN. And so the idea of being the only short-term care product that's out on the market that actually has, all these products are in the short-term care space are all full indemnity, but the full indemnity means that you have to receive services. And what Tom's illustrating here is some of the different ways that we track services, whether it's a home health aide or a CNA or family and friends. And I'll let Tom pick up on this, but the point is that you can overcome that objection by taking it off the table when the client knows that if they take out this particular plan, they can actually have a family member that can step in and get paid. And of course, as Tom said, we're selling smaller eliminations. So typically on the home care side, and we're going to cover that in just a moment, we sell a 0-day elimination. But Tom, I know that this is something, as far as that people don't often think about who is paid as a caregiver.
You bet, Dennis. And basically, this is one of the slides we bring up to people just to remind them, is that, the top part of the slide talks about the unpaid caregivers. And we know that's why a lot of us are in this market, and a lot of people need help, is because they don't plan ahead. They don't have anybody explain to them for the need for extended care policies. So they end up being stuck in an unpaid caregiving situation. And those stats vary a ton, and I'm not going to beat you over the head with the stats, but it is something that's a huge problem in America, as most of us know. But the bottom part is, even when they start paying for care, a lot of agents and certainly a lot of consumers don't understand. So we try to educate them to say, most of the time when you get paid caregivers, you're going to get a home health aide or a CNA, a certified nursing assistant. They're the most common. You don't have, RNs come into your house and stay for long periods of time that often, compared to the home health aide and the lower levels of care that aren't as expensive. So that's one thing to point out to you. Like we talked about, this is an indemnity benefit with all of these plans, OmniFlex and all the other plans that we're talking about in our short-term care initiative. So even if a home health aid's only going to charge you $50 a day, you get the full benefit of whatever you built in or bought for that at claim time. So you'll have a lot of extra money a lot of times because the home health aides won't charge you quite as much. On the flip side, what I'm trying to show you is that 28%. Even on the paid caregivers, the third most popular on the list is family members and friends or independent folks helping you out. So I really want to stress that. And that's one of the things we take the time to go in and talk to people about, is that how important that cash benefit really is. And it is something that can make a huge difference for your clients at claim time, and they'll thank you for it. So something we want to make sure we stress when we teach just the OmniFlex side of it. Okay. And as far as home health care goes, again, Dennis, jump in if you'd like. This is a slide that came from Manhattan, and it goes into a lot of detail showing some of the examples of type of care that's covered. I want to make sure you know the reason this plan took so long to put together is that we were really hardcore about the home care. People buy these policies for home care. So the Manhattan folks were really nice working with us to say, we want to include not only the medical services you see up there, but a lot of those custodial type services, homemaker services, et cetera. You'll see right in the blue box there, if you can read it, non-medical homemaker services. Those are important. And even groups like Visiting Angels and some of those groups that are kind of not medically based home care providers, those are covered as an indemnity benefit, not on the cash side, but as full benefits in the plan. So we want you to know that basically any way you need to stay at home, if you hit the triggers, we're going to try to keep you there. Okay. And the home health care daily benefits are very robust as well, very flexible, $50 all the way up to $300, not the $400 you have with facility, but you can get up to $300. And the elimination periods, again, are very flexible. Almost always we're selling 0 days, sometimes 20, but unless Dennis corrects me, I'm pretty sure if I were to look at all the policies we've sold already in short-term care, most of them are 0 or 20, and maybe a rare exception for something else from that with the home care especially. Benefit periods, same deal, 90, 180, 270, or 360. Again, based on the affordability of what we're working with each client, we do sell a lot of very robust home care plans at the 360-day level. You'll see the affordability in these plans as you go, and they can be very affordable even for a full year of care. Okay. Lifetime maximum benefit period, again, with the restoration we talked about earlier, 2 times that benefit period, very common. And again, the indemnity side of it is what I want you to make sure you understand as an agent. So there you can see a home health aid. That's probably about a 3 or 4 hour home health aid visit, $169 a day. And then the physical therapy is more expensive, et cetera. These pay the full indemnity amount for any day you receive an actual service. So a couple things in that Dennis probably would have jumped in is that these are days of service plans. So if you only have healthcare, home healthcare 3 days a week, you'll only use 3 of your 360 days. So it might last for much longer than a year. And secondly, make sure you understand that these policies are very strong nowadays, where we call it I can't remember what we call it. Apparently it's late in the day and I've been talking too much today, but a lot of people start out at home. Progression of care.
Progression of care, Tom, I think is
yeah, I was like, wow, I can't believe I couldn't.
Yeah, that's okay. I wasn't going to let you struggle for too long, but
I was sitting there going, wow, how come I'm blanking? But at the end of the day, it happens quite often where people start out at home, they stay at home as long as they can, and then all of a sudden they realize they're getting worse and they need to move to a facility. So you could have one claim that would last for not only 1 year, but you could have a 2-year claim with one single claim example in these policies. So, boy, I butchered that, Dennis. So I'm going to turn.
No, that's okay. And Tom, there's a good point on that home care, because you're still getting, with $300 a day, that's $9,000 a month, or $108,000. And the great thing about the flexibility of the OmniFlex is that you can mix and match. So if someone is predisposed to saying, hey, I'm most concerned about home care and maybe I want a little facility benefit, you could trim down that facility benefit and you could accentuate the home care benefit. Or if you want to load it up both ways, as Tom said, you could load it up and sell a $400 a day benefit for facility and up to $300 a day for home care. But, when we get to inflation, and again, depending upon the age, and Tom, I'll let you jump back in here in just a second, that because we've designed so many plans over the years, that there's certain times in which you decide if you want to give people their inflation up front, which is what I was just indicating by selling more robust plan, the $400 a day facility and $300 a day for home care. But you might have circumstances, and there may be reasons, even when you're selling the most robust plans, that you want to add inflation, but you might want to dial it back, and maybe you're selling a $200 a day across the board for nursing home and home care. And then, Tom, you can talk and give help them to have a better understanding about how inflation works, because one of the things that we wanted to take off the table in designing this OmniFlex was to avoid adverse selection and not have runaway compound inflation that would just increase. And so I'll let you explain a little bit how that simple works, and again how it ramps up.
You bet. You bet. Yeah, that's one of the things that's very unique about this product. And we always let's talk first about the ramp up, because it's something that sometimes agents, their first reaction is, oh, there's a smoking gun. And we do talk about this really openly. We say it's not a secret. Dennis and I joke saying it's really our secret sauce, because of that ramp up. And basically, I'll explain the ramp up real briefly first. If I were to sell somebody, like in this example, a $200 a day benefit at the time at the application, whether it's home care or facility, doesn't matter, works the same way. If I were to sell $200 as my base benefit, it starts out, if that person were to go on claim the very first year, you can see the zero down there, it starts out at 50% of that benefit. And then it goes up in equal increments. It goes up from $100 up to $200 over 5 years in equal increments. So whatever your daily benefit is starts at 50% and grows over 5 years till that 5th anniversary. And again, not a secret at all. What that does is, think about it. People wait till last minute to get these policies sometimes, and they end up where they're knocking on the door. And we have very liberal underwriting with OmniFlex because of this ramp up. So we can cover a lot more people than we would have covered. But to protect the carrier and to make sure this product does well and for the long term, we start that out with a ramp up. So we're going to try to get people who say, I know for sure my mom's going to be pushing claim time here in the next year. Then it may not be that good a deal for the client. So we tell people that'll stop the adverse selection. They're going to go buy something else most likely. And that's fine, because we want people to plan a couple of years ahead. And I'm going to show you right after this slide a real example to show you that what matters and what agents do with OmniFlex, and the reason that it's taken off so well, is that they're realizing, they teach their clients it's about your benefits at claim time that really matter, your premiums and your claim experience. So the ramp up is nothing to worry about, and don't be ashamed of it, because it really makes this plan perform really well in different ways, including that cash benefit we talked about. So usually if we just had it go up for the $100 to $200 and then level off, then it would level off. And you can see the light blue part there. Maybe my mouse will help show it. That's how the plan works most of the time, right? And if you buy inflation, which I shouldn't say most of the time, because about half the policies they've been putting inflation on, then what happens is, as soon as the plan matures up to the base benefit, then it starts growing at 5% simple inflation. So it will double in 20 years. Okay, so the 25th year, it'll double. And then it's a simple inflation 2 times max. So it stops once it doubles. So in this example, it would go $200 up to $400, and then it would stop. And again, that's a really good thing, you guys, because that way, like Dennis mentioned, we don't have runaway inflation. We don't have something where we sell to a 40-year-old and they have inflation that goes on and on and on, and we have these huge claims that the carrier gets themselves in trouble. So this is why that was built that way, for affordability and to make sure we understand that it does stop at the 2 times. Okay. And Dennis, I think I'm going to jump over and show that Aetna slide now. Do you think that's a good time for us?
Yeah, no, I think it is, Tom, because, we only can do so much in this particular training. And that's why we also have recorded training, because we have to limit the amount of, these webinars as far as the time. But what Tom's going to show us right now is, and this is an internal tool that Tom actually built. He built it because he was getting the rates, putting the rates and seeing where Omni would stack up against other carriers in the industry. And it's been a very effective tool, because what's enabled us to do is actually show really the strength of Omni, because we know everything today starts and stops with underwriting. And so it really doesn't matter at the end of the day what the pricing is. It doesn't really matter even what the benefits are. If you can't get people approved, then really it's all for naught. So this is an example, Tom, and I'll let you pick back up on that discussion of showing what you said about maybe in the early year at 61, you might want to sell one of our other short-term care initiatives that we have. We have two other products, the Wallaby and we have the GTL. We're showing right now, though, because Tom built this to kind of show how it compares to Aetna. So, Tom, I'll let you pick back up.
You bet. You bet. And this is just an example. These green down here shows where one policy is kind of outperforming the other one, et cetera. And this looks really confusing, but it's really not. And I can go through it pretty quickly. This is just a 61-year-old. Doesn't really matter what age it is or really what state it is. The story's kind of the same. If I were to sell, in this example, a $200 a day plan for a full year with 20-day elimination for facility, fairly common. And we did the top home care, $300 per day for OmniFlex for a full year with first day coverage. And with Aetna, and I'm using Aetna because we love Aetna. We write a lot of Aetna, don't get me wrong. It's just, this is a pretty popular plan out in the industry. So we just want to show you the numbers with something that you may be familiar with or your clients might. At $1,200 a week, the way their home care works, $1,200 a week, so an average of $171 a day if you divide by 7. For 52 weeks with first day coverage, okay? So the first thing you're gonna notice, and I cheated a little bit here, I gave a spousal rate. Aetna doesn't have a spousal discount. So I did cheat there a little bit. They have, they show the premium at 24% less, just comparing the base premium, $1,031 for OmniFlex to $1,357 for Aetna. Now that is including the 10% discount. So if it was a single person, it'd still be a 15.6% less with OmniFlex. What does that 46.1 represent? We already talked about that, right? $300 per year prescription drug reimbursement. So in this case, if they use the full 300, which a lot of people will, if you do the math, that'd be 1,031 minus 300 right off the bat. So that's 46% less premium if you include that with a married couple. With a single person, it's still about 38%. So still a lot less premium. But what I want to show you is with this plan, even if I sold that plan to somebody and they went on claim 2 days after their effective date in that first year, now if you look at it, you can see, well, the premiums will last, but you know what? I have the cash benefit here that I like, $75 per day. It's not huge because we started at 50%, right? So we do have a cash benefit that Aetna doesn't have. But if I look over here, that facility benefit is much, much stronger with Aetna on that first year, right? 72 grand total pool for 36,000 comparison. And with the 1,200 a week, I've got $171 average and a $62,000 pool. But with OmniFlex, I started at 50%. So I'd make an argument if it was my mom or a loved one or Dennis's mom, I'd say, you know what, maybe in this case, if you think we're this close, we got through underwriting, you know, maybe it wouldn't be a better deal for if you're going to go on claim in the first year. But watch how things change. Even if I go on claim in the third year, before this policy even begins to get to the full maturation in year 5, now I'm looking at it, I still save that same 24 to 46% premium, right? Saving a ton of money on the annual premium, so I like that. And now if I were to go on claim, we have a different story, don't we? Aetna still outperforms a little bit on the facility because we're at 160 in the third, if right after the third anniversary. So they paid 4 years of premium. So now we're at 160 and 57. So Aetna's a little stronger there. But you know what? Now start looking at the home care where people want to be. I'm at $240 per day and a bigger pool of money for home care. I've got $120 per day to zero for family and friends because of that Fast 50 benefit, and a nice little $43,000 pool. At this stage, I think I'd make an argument saving, 24 to 46% premium. I like my OmniFlex at this point, right? Once you get to the 5th year, it's a no-brainer. In my mind here, I look at it saying I'm saving a ton of premium, and now I've matured to the point where my facility benefits are equal and my home care benefits. I've got a 73% bigger home health care pool and a much bigger daily benefit available. So in this case, this is the strength of OmniFlex. That 50% ramp up is not a secret. It's a secret sauce because what really matters is your benefits at claim time. And I will tell you this, we're really proud of this product. And again, a lot of agents have given those great testimonials because of the fact that once they learn it and realize that this isn't a big deal to have the 50% ramp up, because most people don't buy these plans to go on claim in the third year. They buy them to say, I'm going to probably buy this and hope I don't ever go on claim. But if I do, it might be 5 or 15 years down the line. That's when OmniFlex really performs, is 3 years plus. I've shown this and I've done this comparison against just about everything in the industry, and it really performs well. It does a good job. So it's very competitive for different policies that you may come across. And Dennis, go ahead and add to that if you'd like. You sure can. Well, you might be on mute, so I'm going to keep going.
Sorry, Tom. I was on mute for just a quick second. You said that very well, and I think that it illustrates, again, we have other solutions in addition to Aetna that would pay in that year 1 and 2, and most people, they buy it today because they want to plan ahead, and they're hoping that, as you indicated, that they will never need it, but if they do, it'll probably be down the road at some point. But the nice thing about OmniFlex, like as we've talked before, there's less moving parts, right? So Tom mentioned about inflation, that's a rider. We also talked about the home care. The base plan is really the facility, and the home care is a rider. Technically, almost every policy I think that we've sold, we've seen the home care. So I don't think of it like you would think of a traditional rider, but the hospital indemnity is the other rider, and that's fits very nicely into the Medicare space with those of you that are doing Medicare Advantage and you're talking to clients. Now, we recognize that you also have a bunch of other hospital indemnity solutions through your marketers, and some of which are great standalone policies. But if you're trying to pull that client in, and maybe you're trying to use the hospital indemnity, and then you're going to back into the need for the extended care, this is a great rider, and it's inexpensive. And depending upon what tier of underwriting, and we're going to talk about that next, that your client gets, that daily benefit ranges from $50 a day up to $300 a day. And the benefit period you can match up against their MA plan, 3, 6, or 20 days, with a lifetime maximum benefit period of 180 days. So it's a great rider. It's not as robust, I'll be frank with you, than what you can do on the standalone, but because of the fact it's tied into some of the limited underwriting, it may work very well. And state availability, we started in that soft launch way back when Tom indicated a number of months ago with 13 states. And now look here, Hawaii has actually come aboard. If you actually go to our site that we have for all the resources, you'll see that it's actually turned green on the site. But we're in 31 states. And then, Tom, you love to put the cursor and you love to tease them, but it won't be till the end of September, maybe the 1st of October. But Indiana has been approved, and they're just trying to get it onto the platform. And it always takes a little bit long. It takes a few weeks for that to happen. So when it's all said and done, we'll be in a few more states. We're never going to be in California. We'll never be in New York. We're trying hard for Florida, but you never know there. And where Tom is in Minnesota, I happen to live in Michigan, and Michigan's approved, but Minnesota is also problematic. And so not that we're going to get into it deep on this call, but we do have solutions for all 50 states that can help your clients. And so back to the application, Tom, and I know we're running a little bit short on time here, and so we want to make sure we hit that. And I'll turn it back over to you, because we didn't really get a chance to spend too much time going through the underwriting process, but the e-app that Manhattan has in the portal is fantastic, and we'll have a separate webinar that will allow you to see how that works. And for our conversation right now, we're just going to refer to the paper app so that you kind of get a feel for the questions.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dennis. And again, this is the paper app that we obviously have fillable paper apps. Most of you are going to be doing the e-app. Here's how easy it is to fill out the benefit side of it. What I did want to show you as part of, Dennis alluded to the fact that we have a 2-tiered underwriting. And one of the biggest strengths we have with OmniFlex, remember, one of the biggest abilities of these plans is their availability. So not only do we have a pretty good scope of states that it's available in, but we also have an underwriting system that we worked really hard with Manhattan to go through and have as many people, we call it throwing the net wide on the underwriting. So you're going to see, and don't worry, I'm not going to read these to you on this call, but I do want you to know that we have the ability with this plan to cover a lot of people. So this first section that you go on the e-app with that training Dennis talked about, or on the hardcore application, you're going to be able to get all this on a site we'll show you as we finish up here in a minute. But you can see the knockouts, these first areas, all knockout questions. I mean, we just can't get you coverage. We have other plans that might be able to help you, but not the full comprehensive short-term care plans. So with these, you can see pretty big knockouts. These are AIDS questions, talking about being on disability, talking about needing help with activities of daily living, or having some form of cancer besides skin cancer, et cetera. So these are pretty broad. So most of your people you're going to be in front of are going to be able to get through this. And there's really some nice, unique things that we can get through that some of the other carriers can't. So we're proud of that fact. Down below here is where we separate ourselves from most of the products out there. Wellaby has a 2-tiered underwriting system as well. But with this plan, we have the same thing. With this one, if you read it close, it says, if you answer yes to any of these, it's not a knockout, but you're only going to be able to get up to $100 for your facility care, your home care, and your hospital indemnity part. So it limits it to protect the carrier. But again, by doing that, you can see here, these are some pretty major conditions as well. And I'm not going to read them all to you, but you'll see this on the e-app and on the applications that you can peek at. Very, very broad still. So we're going to be able to cover a lot more people than what we would be able to cover otherwise with these other plans. And you can see that when we get into this policy, if your partner who sent you here, our marketing people who sent you to this webinar, you can tell I'm having problems finding words today, Dennis. It's kind of scary. But if you go to integritystc.com, that's our main short-term care initiative site. And you can see on here that we have sales and marketing materials, this InstaPivot tool. Tell you what, it instantly will steer you to any of the products that are available in our short-term care portfolio. And you can going to be able to help people out by just putting in a couple of conditions. We don't have time, obviously, today to go in and show you that, but it's a very strong tool if you want to get that deep. Otherwise, you could use that application like I just used and see how easy it is and pre-screen people that way. It's very simple. It's not like the 34-page long-term care applications or anything. It's very simple. Sales and marketing, if you click that, you'd see all the different things you'd need to be successful and help you through the client orientation, et cetera. And then we have information on all these plans in here as well, the OmniFlex and the home healthcare plans. So Dennis, I don't know if you want to add any more with this. I thought it was a good time to jump to the site to show them the InstaPivot tool, because they're going to see that this product with a limited plan for sure, this and Wellaby can just do a great job of getting coverage for people with facility and home care where before nobody else dared to tread. So it's some really nice opportunities for you with OmniFlex and the Wellaby product.
Yeah, no doubt, Tom. And the InstaPivot is really powerful. And again, hats off to Tom. He developed that tool originally internally just for his own use to look at the applications of every short-term care product to see the underwriting and to see which ones had more flexibility. And I will tell you, back to the Aetna claim story that Tom shared with us, we have a medication list and it's on the site where you can go through and you can actually, check it out. And there's 172 different medications. And one of the things that we like to point out, because we are trying to show you different ways in which these products separate themselves from the other competition. And again, today we're spotlighting Manhattan. We've already spotlighted Wellaby several times, and we spotlighted GTL several times. But of the 172 medications on that list, Aetna would have declined 148. Think about that. 148 of the 172, and Omni would have only declined 54. That ramp up that Tom we've referred to on several occasions really is our secret sauce. It's how we're helping the carrier to avoid adverse selection and throwing that net wide. And Tom's now showing back to the site sales and marketing and some different tools. You'll see that he just showed some recordings that are available. Lots of great resources that will help you to make your life, this is not the old days of where you have to go hunt around and go, where's that brochure or where is that marketing piece? We have it all housed in one site to make it easy for you to navigate. And, and now it just really is up to you to determine, again, all these resources, FAQs, everything is available to you to, again, make it easy for you to learn. These products are so simple. They're simple to learn, they're easy to explain, and they're fast as it relates to the approval process. And man, we've been so pleasantly surprised that with all the carriers, just what high placement ratios that we are getting in comparison to some of the struggles that we had in that has occurred in recent years in some of the other alternative LTC solutions. So this is a great opportunity. We hope that this webinar was informative. We hope it gave you at least a good foundation to go back and to study and to get more information and to go back to your marketer with additional questions.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dennis. And again, some of the product trainings, we've all been through a lot of product trainings on a lot of different products. And if this is the first time for short-term care, we know you're drinking out of a fire hose like a lot of times, but I can't stress enough what Dennis said is so true, you guys. As we let you go here, remember, go to our sales training, go to some of the things, check out the tools on that site. We don't throw you out of the plane without a parachute. What we do is we really want to help folks out in America who need it so badly. So we have all the tools, and we can show you just how easy it is to start the conversation. It's not a difficult process, like Dennis said, and you do have the ability to cover just about anybody you're talking to in any state and give them some level of protection. And that's what we're here for. Dennis and I are proud to have the privilege to go out and help you have the ability to help folks as well. So the next step's up to you. Contact your marketer, the person who got you on this webinar. Look for other webinars that we're doing. We're doing a couple a day in most cases, and we're there to help you learn more about this so you can help folks make more money and keep your persistency up with whatever product you're selling. So that being said, Dennis, thanks a lot. Great job as always. And thank you for taking your valuable time today to jump on with us. Have a good day.
Thanks again, everyone.
The next step is yours. Contact your marketer for more information and to start offering short-term care solutions to your clients. And be sure to sign up for our other short-term care hot topic webinars.